It was that Fresh Fest, Houdini, LL Cool J.
That was the era right there.
That was an exciting time.
Goodness.
Very exciting
time.
My
goodness.
Especially
so no, that's fair to say. Like that era sort of brought you into to the culture and made you an MC.
Yeah.
That's really dope. So from the Bay Area, when did you move to DC?
I moved to DC to go to college at Howard University. And I remember the music, the song that was hot when I got to Howard's campus, Howard University. And it was, I came through the door. I said it before. I never let the mic bang inside. Like, I remember this song. I have memories of learning how to do the WAP. I remember being a student union center. I don't know if you remember Raz Baraka, who's now mayor of Newark.
Yes.
So I didn't know who Raz was. I didn't know who people, but I saw that Raz knew how to do the WAP. And I remember being in the Blackburn Student Center, and it was a big party, and Raz Baraka taught me how to do the WAP.
Wow.
Because it was like two different cultures. Remember then, it was East Coast, it was West Coast, it was South, it was Midwest. You know, it was like everything was, it was like going to a different culture completely.
Right.
When you made those trips,
Oh wow. So you went to college in DC. What did you think about like the music that was around you? Of course there was like go-go.
Yes, of course.
And there was of course hip hop. Coming from the West Coast, like of course you started listening to the hip hop in the West Coast, right? Right. And was there a comparison? Was there a difference between like?
Oh, it was very different. It was very different. And you also remember there was the regional bias that was very, very strong. I remember doing a show, and as soon as the announcer said I was from California, half the crowd booed. I didn't even go on stage yet. As soon as they said California, they booed. And that's how deep it was. And then the music sounded different because West Coast music was so different. The flows were different. West Coast accent is very southern. Used to be really southern West Coast-ish. And we talked different. And then, but it wasn't southern.
Right.
And then the instrumentation and the beats were different. And very different.
Let me ask you, what were you listening to in the West Coast? What which artists were you listening to before you went to DC? I don't remember.
I mean, but look, the Arabian Prince.
There you go.
Too Short.
Okay.
MC Hammer. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's real dope. Let me ask you what you thought when you moved to DC about the difference in the music you were hearing.
I loved it. I've been a culture warrior, a culture maven, just always starving for culture. I mean, since I was a small kid, like everything I'm doing now, I dreamed about doing as a little girl. So it's awesome. So I'm not a typical listener. Like I want to hear everything at least once, and I want to understand it. And let's get it started. In the pants, man.
Oh, I love that song. I love that song till this day.
But when I got to the East, it was different.
It was
I was
different, right?
fascinated by go-go.
Mm-hmm.
More so how much people loved it. Because I liked it, but it was just like, it was like almost like a religion. The way, and it was this religion that none of us knew about before we got there.
Exactly.
So that for me was really, really deep. And then hip hop wise, like DC hip hop, once I started to move around a bit, DC hip hop, I felt like DC and Maryland and Philadelphia was really all one. In terms of sound and vibrations and mood and tone, DC didn't get the shine that Philly got. But DC was just as dope, just as soulful. MCs were just as lyrical as they were in Philadelphia.
You heard it first here.
Yeah, so
it's true. It's very true.
Yeah.
And I want to give you your flowers now, because you are responsible for getting those MCs all together. You are, like, you know. Yeah. And we're gonna get into that. But before that, I want to ask you, when you started MCing, were you in any groups?
Yes. I mean, my very first group was called the Fresh Girls with a Z at the end. And then our first talent show, we took the Fat Boys instrumental. The fat boys. But we said, the fresh girls. Look at me, I'll be the T. So we did that, Fresh Girls. So we did the Fresh Girls, and that was the beginning. I think I've had a myriad of groups that I've been a part of. You know, I guess the rest of those really grew out of Freestyle Union. So I was in, it was called the Chakras before it became Opus Akabin. And so, and then I stepped away from that to do my own group, Daughters of the Cypher. Yes. And so, yeah, it kind of flowed out of that. I've also been a part of other people's bands, a bunch of different groups where I just had my one little role in the band. And then there's a lot of cats that I've sat in with over the years, even done some dates with musicians. And and now I do a lot with the Rhyme Like a Girl Collective, which was basically a woman-led freestyle union. Right. So, so the idea is that you got these dope women MCs who can spit hot fire and freestyle. and all of the training, you know, all of what I do with Rhyme Like a Girl is basically Freestyle Union. Right. Which we will get into that right now. So what inspired you to start Freestyle Union? I think, look at my old Freestyle Union co-founding partner, supporter, Sub-Z's in the building. Sub-Z. So she was there in the very beginning when we sat on the living room floor conceptualizing this thing. And the idea was, like I said, I want to start a workshop so I can get better. And Sub-Z said, do it. So that was that. And then he said, I'll make the flyer. And he drew a flyer that we then took to Kinko's. And we went to State of the Union, and the owner, who was then Stored, and then Kaz, who was the manager, Dave Kasdan. And they said, yeah, why don't you try it out here? And so we tried it out there. But what I found out is that MCs who are really about the art of MCing, when they come together to rhyme, that's it. They're not buying you drinks, your food. Nobody's trying to eat or drink. We just trying to rock mics. And so during that time we were there, for the number of people that were in the space, the money didn't match up to when people were just there not to rap. And so we ended up at 8 Rock Cultural Arts Center on Southeast DC because of DC poetry legend Kenneth Carroll. So I was telling Kenneth Kenny about the problem, and Kenny was like one of my big brothers. Kenny was a mentor to me, and Kenny looked out like on some necks. And so Kenny went about the business of looking for a space for me to do it. And 8 Rock Cultural Arts Center needed some cool hip programming. And so then we went, and that's how it got started. And everything kind of flowed from there.
Right.
But you know, the people said, Joey, they said you can't do no hip hop event in DC.
What?
Nobody's coming to that. It's not enough MCs, not enough real MCs, not enough hip hop heads in DC. Then they said, you can't do that. You're a Howard girl. Nobody's coming to know Howard girl stuff. Nobody's coming from the area. And then they said, you can't do that in Southeast DC. No, I mean, it was so many, you can't. So my expectations were low.
Right.
I said, well, we get 7 people, we'll be fine. 10 people, we're just going to vibe. And I'm going to be, and my goal was just to be a better MC.
Right. No, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, how did you, who did you guys look for? Of course, you were, you and Sub-Z started. So how did he get everyone else in? How
well, you know, Sub-Z,
that growing process?
I don't remember exact, but I think Sub-Z, did Sub-Z go to high school with Carl? I don't know. Him and Kokai knew each other. And so he called Kokai. Then Kokai brought someone, Wiz, his boy, with him, DJ. Wiz a DJ, a producer, brought Wiz with him. And then there was someone else there, Ezra. We brought Ezra.
Okay.
And there were a few other folks, and that was it. I think there was literally 7 people, and we would rhyme until we were sweating.
Wow.
Like, that's how, I mean, just all in. Sub-Z went to elementary and high school with Kokai.
With Kokai.
And so we would just rhyme, and then it started to feel like church. And then we put out the flyers to a few more people, and some other cats started to come. And then when that crew came, then here came, a few months later, all these kids from Duke Ellington, School of the Arts came. And we were like, who are these teenagers walking in here? So that was something else that happened. And then once that crew came, they brought more of their friends. Black Indian had come through. Then Black Indian brought his crew from 21st in Vietnam, from over here and over here. And we had somehow, I think Troy came through. I can't remember what circle it was, but I was active with the Zulu Nation. That was a big part of it. Wow. I was active with the Zulu Nation in DC, and there was a cat named Monty Taft. Monty Taft was there the first month or 2 helping set up chairs. And so Monty was just a lover of hip hop, background kind of dude, to make sure hip hop happened. And so there were cats who were involved with Zulu Nation that came through, because there was a year where I was in charge of the Zulu Queens. And then Infinite Loop dropped through, and Infinite Loop came through, and the Infinite Loop brought another crew of folks in too. And so, and that my goal was to have an event where different crews could come together and vibe, where it didn't have to be, this crew, that, to get rid of that division, and to get rid of that stuff that would happen in hip hop, that would cause fights, that would make it non-productive. Double R, Young Guru. Yes. All of these cats came, and it was just this Tim Jones. I remember Tim Jones too.
Right.
And so, but my dream, and that was where the feminine part of me was good in terms of what hip hop needed. The magic of of just spreading the word out. That's really dope. Yeah. And I remember, rest in peace, Philly. He brought me to the cipher. Yes. He's like, yo, you got to check this out. We the only Filipinos there. I was like, what? Yes. Okay, let's go. And oh my gosh, I know everybody
that went there. Like,
Yeah.
you know, sort of like, okay, I'm an MC, blah, 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 blah. But then when you went there, you saw a lot of better MCs.
Yes. Baking
Which,
soda too. Yes,
yeah,
Wendy.
baking soda, you
Yeah.
know, and just a lot of talent there
Yeah.
in one place. And it's just like, it was just so amazing. Like, all the stuff that we did from alliteration and stuff, the way you just like have everybody in the cipher and you were welcoming, which
Yeah.
was great.
Well, you know
You were
what was
very
beautiful
welcome.
about the Freestyle Union Cypher workshop, a lot of the conceptual stuff came from my experiences on the speech team at Howard. Because
Right.
at Howard, they took the speech team so seriously. And because I was on scholarship, I had to take it seriously too. So it was like you were being hazed to know this poem. It was like hazing, and there was ground rules and whatever. And so that's where the proverbs came from, because we competed in impromptu speaking, and you had to spit a 5 to 7 minute speech with only 60 seconds preparation on this proverb, and it had to make sense. And so in my mind, my theory was, if you could get a room full of MCs to focus on building the mind as a muscle, they'll become more creative and they'll become so confident they won't have time to beef with one another. And the need for certain kinds of aggressive lyrics would disappear. And it works.
Yep.
Yeah, it works.
That's genius.
Toni Lightfoot, it's your mug. You're right. You're right.
Yes, Toni Lightfoot. It was
Same.
Crazy. There were two Tonys out there.
Yeah.
Like, you got the hip hop Toni, and then you got the poetry Toni.
Yeah.
And you guys are like, up there. Like, we go to both.
Yeah.
We go to both events.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just amazing, and as inspiration as an MC, just like, wow, I get to dig into poetry. Okay, let me write some. Let me show them I can do poetry too. So like,
it's one of the things that I think we were right before COVID shut everything down.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we were right on the edge of that culture returning. To hip hop, to spoken word, to art, to music. Right. And that's where I feel like it was about to go down again. And then here came this little virus thing.
You're right. History, like, it's history. You made history.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing these interviews for everyone that was involved.
Yeah.
And I must say, without you, we wouldn't have an amphibians.
Right.
So we thank you very much for inspiring us to, like, all work together, all hang out as friends outside Freestyle Union. Like, inside Freestyle Union, it was just like a class for us.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So we got better at freestyling. We got better, just like more confidence. Like, you build our confidence, because there was like, you were like, oh, come on, do a show with us. I'm just like, oh my God, you got butterfly. But then you're like, if Aaron Henry can do it, you could do it. I'm like, okay, fine. I got you.
People forget, Joey, that hip hop has its own history.
Yeah.
You don't need, like, the Universal Hip Hop Museum is only one aspect of hip hop history. And the music industry and the mainstream part of the music industry, that's only one part of hip hop history. Like, hip hop history is multi-layered and complex. There are different sects of the history. There are the underground artists, the independent artists. There are the artists who traveled the world and come back home. No one knows them.
I mean, it was an amazing time. I know you think that, and I'm like, I tell everybody that. I mean, it's weird. I even went to London, right?
Right.
When I went to London, I spoke about you, and they know who you were. So I was like, what?
Yeah, because Freestyle Union was in alignment with Ghetto Grammar.
Right.
Ghetto Grammar was co-founded by Ty, the MC.
Yes.
Ty passed from COVID last March.
Rest in peace, Ty.
Rest in peace, Ty. And
very dope brother.
Dope brother. Ty and I were very cool, and Ty took me to their cipher, and I was like, oh snap, this is Freestyle Union in London.
Yeah, now when I went there, like, you know, I didn't even know where I was.
Yes.
I just ended up there.
Yeah.
And I met Ty and the DJ Shorty Blitz.
Yeah.
And we
yes.
And when I said Freestyle Union, like, yeah, I was part of Freestyle Union.
Oh, wait, like, but what about
they're like, oh my gosh. So, like, you know, it was just the right place at the right time.
Wait, but what about Bruno in Paris?
Yes, definitely brought Bruno from Paris.
Yes.
You know, that was a whole nother thing, like experiencing living in Paris and meeting them. I actually met them at a Tribe Called Quest concert. It was crazy. But then he got to show me around and stuff, and I told him, I was like, yo, come back with me to DC. You're gonna love this. And I know from now, like, you know, they love that experience. Just like, you know, seeing Freestyle Union and being in Freestyle Union.
Yes.
And just seeing everybody. It was just, you know, it was just great, Toni.
It's
amazing. I mean, you know, do you remember the mission statement?
It said home in my archives.
Okay. What, do you know a little bit of it?
I just looked at all this stuff recently. But
it's okay. It's okay.
You remember it? You have it? You have one of those?
No,
papers?
I don't have it. I mean, I do have it. Well, it's stored in a place that it's coming. Like, you know, it's coming. It's coming. It's a long story.
No, I just remember the mission having to do with how we were committed to the elevation of hip hop, one MC at a time.
Right.
So there was something around that. And we had the ground rules, which were inspired by the late Willie Ascari, a DC poet elder who would walk around town pulling poems out of his pocket, literally. And he would just come to the cipher for inspiration. And he pulled me up one day. He was like, you see those teenage girls over there? I was like, yeah. He's like, well, they're here to see those teenage boys over there. I was like, okay. He was like, well, you need to set some rules. And I was like, dude, I'm not setting no rules. Nobody's coming if we have rules. So he was in my ear for 2 weeks. And then I finally started. And I realized nobody left. After we set these rules, nobody left. And so, you know, give thanks to Willie Ascari, may he rest in peace.
Yes.
But he was like, he had me challenge, you know, when I said, look, y'all, and I pretended to be confident. And I was like, look, the bitch whole shit is not a discussion.
Right.
You're into that. You can do it somewhere else, but not here. And nobody left.
That very clear. You made that very clear.
And I was like, oh, snap, it worked. That's why I bug out when teachers and music, you know, I do a lot of hip hop 101. I do a lot of hip hop music ed and a lot of artist residencies. And some teachers try to tell me, Ezra Greer's in the building, y'all. Put your hands up for Ezra.
What's up, Ezra?
Ezra is one of the reasons why I've become the artist who I am, is because of the time and energy that Ezra invested in me when I said I want to do this. And so salute to Ezra. But yeah,
did you expect this turnout? The turnout?
Where?
Like, what were you thinking? Like, you know, how it was going to turn out for you
with the Freestyle Union?
With Freestyle Union.
My expectations were really low, Joey. I you know, because everybody told me it wasn't gonna work. So my goal was just to get better, become a better rapper, and to be around some dope MCs. And then it started to grow, and then like in a month, it was 20 people without really promotion. We just giving out flyers people we knew, and then in 2 months, but by the third month, it was like 40 MCs.
Right.
Coming through the door.
Like you had to move.
And
people
then the next month,
A-Rock to HR57.
Well, see, but A-Rock got overly crowded. Like it was at one point a fire hazard. We broke all the fire codes. Remember? And people were squished up against the walls trying to see and hear the cipher because we had these ground rules and we didn't use a mic on purpose.
Right.
So, but it was like a dojo. A lot of that came from Sub-Z.
Right.
You know, the black belt kung fu master. Because of that whole vision around I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Because of that whole vision around following the art of war, Sun Tzu techniques around mastery. And so Sub-Z had me like treating that like religion.
Right.
Like the focus on mastery and being able to have your farm. And so I took it all literally and applied it to the cipher.
I mean, it worked.
It worked. No, yeah.
It worked.
Yeah.
It definitely worked. Big up to Sub-Z for doing that. I mean, you know, there's a lot of discipline that goes in it, but it affected all of us.
Yes.
So, you know, it worked out.
Yes.
It worked out at the end. Like, it was really dope. So let's talk about the importance of the cipher. And explain some of the exercises we did, if you remember them.
Oh no, I still do Freestyle Union.She workshop. So okay. You must know that I think I had a little pause in there, but I've never stopped. It's just called something else now. And so today I did it at Beloit College virtually. And I was doing ciphers in my living room at one point.
The cipher continues.
yeah. It's never stopped. And that's so dope. But I remember the structure that started to develop was based upon how to manage a group of rappers.
Right.
Egos and energy. I remember Brainchild would help me figure some things out. Shout out to John Moon.
Yes,
I remember having conversations with Brainchild because, you know, he's Brainiac.
Yes, he is.
And Brainchild would sit there with me and science stuff. But we would science out how to make it work. And so the cipher, am I answering your question? What was the question? I'm talking too much.
We're talking about the exercises.
The exercises, yes. So the exercises. And so we developed these freestyle exercises. This came from me being on a speech team at Howard because there were techniques. And so what people don't understand, people say, I can't freestyle, or I don't freestyle, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, say you're scared to freestyle. Because if you can rhyme, you can freestyle, right?
Exactly.
And so there's that piece. And Freestyle Union MCs proved it. I'm going to just say this one piece and I'm going to answer your question. Okay. And I have been around the world. I've been to 48 countries, Joey Too Fresh. I've been to even more cities. I have facilitated ciphers in languages I didn't understand. And I tell you, have I been, look at Young Guru in the building, Joey.
Young Guru in the house.
So I have yet to be in a space where there are that many MCs with a high skill level, soul-centered, connected to what it means to get open, and knowing how to intellectually attack and respond to a topic. You understand what I'm saying? Like I just said, there's 4 or 5 things happening here if you are a master of the art, master of the craft. And I have not been in a community where there were that many dope MCs. There's the 1 or 2, but I haven't been in a place where there's 30 of them. Wow. You know? And so, except for in DC during that era.
Wow.
In Freestyle Union. Okay. So it's crazy. So it's just improvisation is the practice to mastery. Improvisation is the practice to self-mastery, not just artistic mastery. Because it is through improvisation that you are able to harness true confidence that comes from your core, not performance.
Right.
It's from your core, from your soul. And so the exercises, we did introductions. We do introductions. Mm-hmm. And because every time we get together, you should have evolved. You shouldn't be who you were the last time we saw you. So we introduced ourselves each time. The introduction was also about maintaining that unity.
Right.
Like we talked about in the beginning, that community vibe was really, really important to me as a woman hip hop organizer, keeping everybody together,
Exactly.
making sure it felt warm and it felt loving. So that meant if we did introductions every time, there was never, nobody was ever new. We're all new here.
Right, right.
And so that's what helped to build the familiar vibe. And then we did alliteration, which I do in every single one of my workshops. And now a lot of the MCs that I've worked with and poets I work with and teachers I've taught, they do it as well.
That's
and
awesome.
so we do alliteration exercise. The challenge is that most people can't do it the way Freestyle Union did it. they just list words. But we did it. You had to spit the words.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the dope MCs, the true masters, could spit that shit and make it make sense. I rarely did, but there were those who could. They could do it. And
but
then
in
we
DC,
do,
you brought the boot camp. That was boot camp for us, you know.
Yes. And then we take proverbs, African proverbs, Chinese proverbs, Native American proverbs from the Harlem Renaissance, proverbs from this and that, and you have to spit freestyle the meaning of the proverb, right? That proverb was an impromptu speaking competition event. Only we rapped it, which was 20 times more challenging.
Definitely.
To rap it and freestyle it. And we did proverbs, we did storytelling, of course. What artist should not be practicing storytelling? Everybody should do storytelling. Because storytelling helps you to be more creative. It also gets you to stay out of your head, honoring your voice. What else did we do? We did 4-bar bounce. Which 4 bars. We did the 4-bar bounce. So introductions, alliteration, storytelling, proverb analysis.
And now,
we did quest rhyme. Quest rhyme was important because it was about engaging with one another. One another. Tapes. Who got the cassettes? I still got cassettes. I got some cassettes from the old 930 Club in my closet. Wow. I need to see if they'll play that Sydney Margetson had recorded ciphers and performances. But quest rhyme is when you're freestyling, right? And I get to ask you questions, or whoever, someone else will ask you questions. That was like a brainchild invention. He probably don't remember it. John Moon came up with the idea. So we're basically, I'm interviewing you while you are rapping. Right. And what it does is it forces you to listen. So there's so many things happening, and this is why I hate when people still try to diss rap. That it's this simple thing. This is why I love to force people to rap. F Street, yes. 930 Club on F Street, yo.
Yes,
that's right.
930 Club.
Oh, Daughters of Cypher rehearsal cassettes. Yo, I had Daughters of Cypher rehearsal cassettes too. Yeah, we need to digitize these cassettes, y'all. But those are just some of the exercises. We had a lot.
I mean,
we had
like
at least
you
40
heard it here. You heard it from Toni's mouth. What we did. That's why we have there's so many dope MCs out of the DMV right now. It's just because of you.
Yeah.
They learned that, and it's just like, outside, like, it would be hard for them because they haven't had that yet. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when you brought it there, and then they just opened their eyes to it, it was just like, whoa, we can do this.
Right.
Like, we can rap together.
Right.
We can improv. This is, It's just amazing. Like I said, you have an effect on everybody in DC.
Right.
That I know. It's just like, and plus there was just so much talent from everywhere. Just, I got to mention, like, when Hibernation came, it just blew my mind. I was just like,
yes.
You got cats from Maryland coming? Like, what's going on? Like,
I have a Hibernation cassette too in my
Yes, box. Definitely. And I remember those times you had, like, you had you let us show us songs that we did at your house. You remember we brought tapes and just listened to everybody's songs. It was really dope. You made us, like, just like, hungry. Yeah. You made us hungry, especially the amphibians. We were hungry. Right. But we were hungry to the point we forgot there's a business part to it. So we just kept recording and just, like, But now since we're older, now we're understanding it, you know. But we
Yeah.
were knuckleheads back in the day, just like, you know, making freestyle tapes and going to Freestyle Union.
Yeah.
And it was just dope. With that saying, like, you know, U Street, what does U Street mean to you?
For me, U Street, U Street is has this place in my heart. I think about how, I guess, a writer from the Harlem Renaissance might think about 125th Street in Lenox.
Right.
I think about U Street, and I think about my creative soul and how it was nurtured, and how it set me up, you know, for the travels that happened after that. I mean, really, and being able to go from spot to spot to spot, you know, and connect with artists and to vibe on a street corner. There's a jam session in a club, and there's a jam session on a curb, and then from there we would go to someone's house, you know, our apartment, and have another thing. And I remember when there was an era when I remember Tribe Called Quest had put out Electric Relaxation. I don't know what year that was. And I just remember, I don't know whose house we were at. We were at someone's house, and we were sitting on the floor, and it turned into this Cypher listening party. And there was just that space. And this is one of the, you know, even pre-COVID, this is one of the things where I felt sad for the younger generation who will never get to experience that, you know?
Right.
I do. It makes me sad now to think about it. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, if, you know, we always want to, like, you know, think that, like, you know, U Street will be better, you know, than what we did, you know, or like, you know, take what we did and, like, you know, and just make it timeless. Like, you know, it's still going on.
Right.
Well, obviously COVID happened and stop that. You know what I mean? But it's just like, you know, I think it can always continue again, because I mean, you know, it has to. Like U Street can't die yet. That's all I gotta say.
Right.
It can't die. Like, you know, of course we moved on. You're in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in Brooklyn as well. I'm moving back to DC.
Okay.
In July.
Okay.
I warn everybody, I will be back there.
I just looked at this apartment building in Silver Spring, but I don't know if I'm gonna move back. I want to go global.
See,
and
that's
then
it.
I thought about moving
move
somewhere.
Back, watch out. Watch out.
But first, I was thinking about just moving. I was considering moving here to Madison, and then that's not working out. I was like, well, maybe where could I go in the States?
Right.
That's not New York. Where would I be? So yeah, party at Joe's house.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Party, and then we'll take U Street back. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. Yes.
We'll take U Street back, definitely. What made you start Daughters of the Cipher?
Well, Daughters of the Cypher started, I remember women MCs would come to Freestyle Union, and sometimes they wouldn't rhyme, not because they were scared. It's just the vibe wasn't right. And so if they were too quiet, like the guys would unknowingly, unconsciously be patronizing. Like, come on, you can do it. Come on, Michelle, you can rap. Michelle knows she can rap. She's not feeling the vibe. And so there's this thing where people don't understand that there's masculine energy, there's feminine energy. There's masculine energy, there's feminine energy, and there is a distinction. And a lot of times we don't give enough attention to understanding the differences, and that was the main thing. I would see some particularly some younger women, and then I realized that were some women who needed a place to build, right, and they needed to do it in a safe space where they didn't feel pushed. And so that's when I initially started for that reason, and I kept doing it because it worked. And then Jay Scales was like, let's do a band. I was like, let's do a band, Jay Scales. Yes.
Yes, that's dope. And it's funny because like I interviewed Francesca
Yes.
Conate,
Yes.
and she MC'd, and I
Yes.
told her that like at least you tried and did it. At least you did
Yes.
it. Like I
Yes.
can consider you an MC because you did it.
Yeah.
You performed, you freestyled, you did everything under
Yeah.
Tony's wing.
Yeah.
And
And
she was just like, "Wow, I'm so amazed I did it." I was like that's literally amazing. Like she used to do the background stuff. I know
right.
Freestyle Union, but then when she came up just to just to actually MC, just like, okay, I can try this, I can do this. She did it,
Yeah.
and
We,
you had a lot of dope MCs in Daughters of the Cipher. It's
yeah.
crazy. So
Remember,
that's
Sub Z just mentioned Mocha.
Mocha, yes.
Mocha. And then later there was Mecca and Camila Forbes. And then
Right, Camila Forbes.
who
Yes.
else was there? There was more. There was more.
All amazing people. All amazing
Yeah,
people
yeah.
that
Yeah.
later on became amazing. Like,
Yeah.
Camila, oh my gosh. Just
Yeah. Well, I
very
think that
dope
this
sister.
is, and it's another testament to how powerful the art is and how powerful artistic development is. And when you develop your creativity, it prepares you for life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you look at MCs who came out of the Freestyle Union community, you're looking at a bunch of good people, man.
Yeah.
Regardless of what people are doing with their lives, they're good human beings.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
I think about 80% of the MCs have taught.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? In some capacity, have functioned as teachers in the lives of people younger than them. And if that is not a testament to the power of hip hop and the power of the cipher, I don't know what is.
Right. Nah, that's amazing. So then you had chapters. It was like Zulu Nation.
Yeah.
You had chapters like Zulu Nation.
Yes.
It was like, definitely, I keep saying this, it was amazing. I can speak for everybody in this chat that they know that they've been in it, and it's just like a boot camp for us. So it made us better MCs. It made us more confident, which is important, because if you don't have the confidence, then you'll be shy to do anything. So
someone just shouted out
that
Claude.
also made everybody more like fearless on stage.
Yes.
So
someone just shouted out Claude. I want to say rest
in peace, Claude.
And
Joy.
Yeah, and shout out to Khalil and Steve as well. It's just a lot of beautiful souls.
A lot of beautiful souls from, like you said, Duke Ellington.
Yeah.
You had people from Duke Ellington. That's how I met mostly everybody, because my brother went to Duke Ellington. And then, seeing them there, it was just like, whoa, you see a lot of producers, you see a lot of everybody. It was just a lot of different everybody's, like poets, MCs, like, beat makers, and just people that just love to hang out, and just like, they're very important too, because they were just there like well,
and I think that's something else we learned as a artist community, is that you didn't have to be an artist or a participant in the art, or even a background in the art. Like, your presence meant something to the cipher.
Exactly.
Like, your energy was a part of the cipher. And I think now that we live in such a celebrity culture, one of the downsides of existing in a celebrity culture is that you forget the people. Because without the people, you're nobody. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
You ain't nobody. Superstar without the people. And so we got to take care of the people as much as we take care of the artists.
Exactly. That's great you said that. So, okay, so after DC, what made you move to Brooklyn?
I moved to Brooklyn because as things grow, and then they don't. And DC had become really small for me. I started writing. I've written some stories that I need to go back. But I started writing about how Freestyle Union evolved. I was leading Freestyle Union with a lot of naivete and lack of experience in terms of how to run an organization of people of the opposite gender. I was idealistic about the possibilities of hip hop, and I also had a vision that was very pure. When and as in all collectives, people bring a different energy to the collective, a different agenda to the collective, and so I was not yet emotionally mature enough to manage what Freestyle Union had become as it started to grow and grow and grow and grow. And then I think what happened, I think with some of the guys who were closer to my age, there was that thing with the competition that I didn't understand, that I took very personally and that hurt justifiably, that hurt. And it was time for me to go. It was time for me to leave. And so I left sad. I left brokenhearted. I left in tears. And I went to Brooklyn to heal. But you know what happened when I got to Brooklyn, right, Joey?
What happened?
I started a cipher.
Hey, a perfect place. A perfect place.
So it's a whole, there's a whole Freestyle Union New York crew.
See?
Like, I don't know, some of them, I don't know if they popped in or not, but it's a whole Freestyle Union New York crew. And but it's been a journey. It's been a journey. It's been a powerful journey. It's been a up and down journey. And it's just, and now that I'm older, I'm like, it's just life. It's just life. You live, you learn.
How was the New York MCs like, you know?
There was no
freestyle, the New York chapter of Freestyle Union.
You know, I can't say that. You know, I can't say that, Joey.
What? Like, how was it?
You know, I can't say that. Peace to Jabari. Happy birthday, Jabari.
Happy birthday, Jabari. Well, okay.
It's different. It's like different. Okay, like, let me tell you, it's different. Let me tell you why it's different. There was a time where New York, some of the New York hip hoppers felt like they owned New York and that was it, right? So anything that happened outside of New York was irrelevant. Irrelevant. Now things have changed because you had breakthroughs from everywhere happening and popping, and artists breaking through from every region and now every part of the world. So that was like July of 2000 when I went. And so things are different now, but I think being able to replicate what we did with Freestyle Union, I've tried it in multiple cities, multiple ciphers, and I think we were alive in a very unique time.
Okay,
and
that's fair enough. That's fair enough to say.
And we were in DC, which was really a place to itself. And so pre social media.
Pre-social, yes.
So there were no distractions. All we had was hip hop.
Right.
And we conducted ourselves accordingly. And so with that, we brought to it the same commitment and the same focus as an old church lady on Sunday morning, dusting off her Bible, for school, so it glows, polishing her Bible. So there was nothing absolutely in her eye. There was nothing like it. Nothing like it. And then you also had, the cipher was unique because you had people from different backgrounds, different economic classes, backgrounds, different ethnicities, different parts of the city, different fields of study, different professions. Like there was a lawyer, there was an architect, there was a postal service worker. Like all of this was happening in one place. And then you had women coming, like as well as men, And so that right there, I haven't seen, and I'm telling you, I was the first U.S. hip hop ambassador. I've been a hip hop educator since mid '90s. I've never seen it happen anywhere else.
Wow.
And if it was just, I've never seen it happen. And then not with the level. And remember, we trained together in that boot camp.
Yeah.
We were in the dojo with Sub-Z and Coconut.
Yeah.
We were in the dojo for 2 years straight without interruption.
Right,
Who does
right,
that?
right.
At one point, meeting every Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
Who does that?
Who does that? Like, who does that now?
No, well, they're not really trying to do that now. You know. They do
Oh
one little hour and a half workshop, and they're like, thank you, okay, I got it. No,
but we would always come back. Like, yeah, U Street was a place we'd always go because there was something going on every time. If there wasn't a Freestyle Union cipher at Coffee House, it'd be something else, you know. Or if not, we just build our own cipher outside.
Yes, exactly.
Most of the time. So it's just like, it was very special.
Yeah, who's that? Who's Chakra Sean Shift? From work to the cipher. Yep.
Yes, exactly. You know, it's just.
I think about it, yeah.
Just amazing. That's just amazing. I mean, you know, going back on the New York thing, like me and my brother, when we moved to Brooklyn, we continued the lifeline over New York. And I'll say it was different.
Of course, Cypher in the alley.
New York MCs, like we got to meet like Poison Pen, Chenlo, all these cats. All these cats would come to West 25th Street, and then of course Trevor would be like, you know, the music maker of it. And then it was so different for them because we started it in DC and then brought it to New York, and it was just amazing how many MCs we met in New York. It was just crazy. Like rest in peace Pumpkinhead.
Right.
Jean Grey came a couple times. It's just because they were all in like groups in Brooklyn, just like, you know, coming to this lifeline joint. And it was all inspiration of Freestyle Union. It was just like, okay, well, you know, we're not going to do alliteration, but we'll keep it open mic because I know people want to talk about New York and stuff. And that's all we heard. Like, you know, that's what we learned during those times with life in New York or the streets of Harlem or, you know, Bronx, the boogie down Bronx and stuff, which was dope. We learned from it, but it's just like, okay, we see where New York's at. So then, like, you know, going to Lyricist Lounge and stuff like that and seeing what they do, and then all the other events that were going on at that time. So it was pretty good. It was pretty
about ways people going to Bar None after the cipher. Yep.
Like, you know, but DC, and there has to be, you know, there's a history in DC that you are a part of.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, people need to see it.
Right.
People need to know that DC had this moment. You know what I mean? And it's just like, you know, just like how they did for what's that crew with Freestyle Fellowship and all them. They did a documentary, right? About the good life.
Right.
No one would know about that. Right. Like, you know, you had everybody from like Razzcast to Medusa to everybody in that, even Black Eyed Peas, right? Going to this open mic. And it sort of reminded, when I watched it, it reminded me of us. I was just like, oh my God, this is like Freestyle Union DC.
No, let me tell you this. This is another history point. When I first came with the idea, sitting on the floor, Sub-Z was making this flyer. First it was Talking Heads, right? Was the first name that we thought about. But the second name, the name we did the first flyer said Freestyle Fellowship. That's what the flyer said, Freestyle Fellowship. And it was fellowship because as I was talking out loud to Terrence, it was thinking through what do we want it to feel like. I said I wanted to be like church for MCs. And so it was fellowship. But then a couple days later, because, you know, I'm from Cali, and so I had California friends. I had friends in LA. And then someone was telling me about Freestyle Fellowship. And I was like, there's already one? And that's when I got all the information about Micah 9, Medusa, all these folks that were out there. And I was like, oh. So then I changed it to Union. But the first name was Fellowship.
That's great.
That was the first
name. It makes sense. you know.
But we changed it because
But
they had started before us, so we changed
then
it. Because that's what hip hop did back then. You respect,
right?
You don't bite,
right. You don't bite. Biting's not allowed. Rakim
No.
kept saying it, and you know, Puffy didn't listen. So I don't know. Someone made biting allowed, like, you know, in '93, not '93, in '95. Sorry, in '95, biting was definitely allowed. So I don't, you know. With that being said, like, yeah, okay. So let's talk about being a hip hop ambassador.
Yeah.
When you got that title, how did that make you feel, and what do you do as the hip hop ambassador?
Slim Cat. As the hip hop ambassador, what do I do as the hip hop ambassador? Okay, look. So hip hop ambassador work, you know, I was the first official one in 2000. I got the call, and my first assignments were in 01, right?
Okay.
And but the work is just artist residency work. So the same way you might do an artist residency at a university, you just do it with the government, with the embassy. So you do lectures, workshops, teach master classes, you collaborate with other artists from the respective culture. And that's what a hip hop ambassador does. You might motivate children, you might motivate, do motivational talks, but it's really about how do you take the art and the culture of hip hop and represent it so that people get what it really means. When you say I am hip hop, what does that really mean?
Wow.
And that's it. And it also helps the government to have a better face because, you know, hip hop is the most consumed genre in the world. Right?
Yes.
Hip hop brings people together. Hip hop brings cultures together. Hip hop unites. Like I used to tell teachers in my hip hop one-on-one workshops, you could put me on an airplane and drop me anywhere in the world. If you can show me where the hip hop heads are, I know I have a place to sleep tonight and something to eat.
There you go.
That's hip hop.
Yeah, that is hip hop. Yeah. Definitely. And it makes sense that you're the hip hop ambassador. It's a very big title and a big responsibility, but you've always had that responsibility.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By controlling, like, you know, you were in control of the cipher, which was so dope because, you know, we looked up to you as, like, you know, guidance.
Yes.
And now as being a hip hop ambassador, everyone else can look for you for, like, you know, at least guidance and what to do. So you're right. Yeah. Going to different places, if you find hip hop, it's going to take you in, take care of you.
Yeah, I want to shout out.
Hip hop is all over.
Yes, I want to shout out. I want to shout out Saul Williams, and I also want to shout out guitarist extraordinaire Jerome Jordan, who are also in the space, Jody.
Word. What's up, Saul Williams? Yes, actually, Saul Williams went to one of the Lifelines, and back in the day.
Okay.
Which like shocked everybody.
Okay.
Like, oh my God, this Saul Williams.
Beautiful.
That's very dope.
Yes.
With all the MCs, with the talent of Freestyle Union, you know, what do you think about the MCs that were part, like, you know, of the DC Freestyle, the DC chapter of Freestyle Union? Okay, let me get that.
Us distinguish. No, what I tell you, I said it already. There is a space where, you know, whatever was meant to be in time, we were such pure artists, and we did not take a hold to the business of what it meant to be artists. Right. And I think in some of that, there was a waiting for acknowledgement to do things we could have done ourselves, you know? Exactly. But we didn't know. We didn't know. So in terms of talent, gifts, and for me, it's beyond just the talent. I'm talking about the spirit, the soul, the energy that was nurtured, the energy that was conjured up when we would get together and when cats would start to get open. Like, let me tell you, I was doing an interview with Michael Viega, music therapist and music scholar it was either an article or for his new book. And he was talking to me about the cipher and my obsession with energy. Like, when did it start? You talk about energy all the time. And this was like 3 years ago. And it wasn't until 3 years ago that I realized the energy that I was trying to have recreated in the Freestyle Union cipher was the same energy that I felt as a 6-year-old girl going to church with my grandma in devotion. And devotion is church before church. Right. So devotion is when the old folks would get in there and they moan, stand by the riverside, yeah, Lord. And they would do these spiritual hymns. And then they would start to get so open, right? Get so open, that they would go into trance, they catch the Holy Spirit, some would faint, some would shout and scream, some would cry, and they would do it unapologetically with no shame. That's what happened in the Freestyle Union. Right. That's what happened in the ciphers devotion. Yeah, that's what happened when we would get together. So I was out here naively trying to recreate that with others when they didn't have access to that. Right. And I was like disappointed. You know, hundreds of ciphers where I just left, everybody liked it, and I would leave disappointed. Right. Because you can't recreate 2 years of practicing devotion with one another. And that's what we had. And so you had, like, my goal was for the MCs to operate in a space of lyrical superiority to all. Now, there was no battling in the Freestyle Union cipher. That rule came about. Right. No battling. But you could use the cipher as a place to prepare for battle. Exactly. And there were actually MCs who, before battles, I coached them. I don't battle because I'm too sensitive. Okay. I feel guilty. If I dish you really hard, I feel really guilty. And then I'm going to mess up. I'm too much of a girl. I'm too feminine. Like, I mean, it made sense. I can't. I mean, we did battle outside, though, but it was just, sparring, let's say. It was just sparring. And if you saw me battling, I was angry, legitimately. Like, I think I battled a couple of dudes who came in there and spit, looked at me and said the word bitch, whatever. I'm like, did you see the rules? So that would piss me off. But other than that, no. But I think that devotion is what separated the MCs from others. And because the Freestyle Union MCs had access to an energy others did not have. Right. It wasn't, quote, I think it's kind of shallow to say better. No, it wasn't about being better. It was about just having more spiritual, energetic depth. I don't know if that's the right terminology. No, I think so. Yeah. I think so. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. I mean, spreading it to another place, of course, it's different energies, but you could recreate it. It would just be a little slower. But then within time, if they get it, they'll get it. And then, it'll continue like that. I think. I can't speak for other states or other countries, Sub-Z just raises a good point. And if we found out you were somewhere else being cocky, we'd check you. Oh, yeah. Like the collective would check you. Yeah, the collective. And you would get shook. Yeah. Like lyrically shook. Right? Energetically shook. To like bring it on, come down. Yeah. Yeah. D-Man became a preacher. Wow. We destroyed many egos. You guys, I witnessed that. Yeah. For those that brought in something, but then, had to take it down a notch. Yes. That's it. Because then when you saw other MCs there, that are doing this, not a lot of MCs you could say can do alliteration or, spit words at you and just constantly freestyle. Yeah. How do you do that? Yeah. No, you know what, Joey? I remember us being at the 930 Club, and there was some dudes there, and they basically they stepped to me, and their energy was so shook that I got scared. but they were mad, and they told me we were lying.
Yeah, well,
that
we
wasn't
had the same experience too.
that wasn't freestyle.
We battled W Street, and
Yeah.
Amphibians battled W Street, and what we got out of it was, you know, they just said, "Why do you guys sound like you're from New York?" And I was like, "Okay, that's great."
No, they said
like,
that.
that's great. They didn't like, you know, it was just they only had like 3 real MCs on their side. We gave
Yeah.
them that, you know. They got Grizz, they had Omega Red,
Yeah.
and I forgot who else, but yes. So when we battled Toni, we had heavy hitters. We had Khalil, we had Scorpion, we had Bacon Soda, we had Boogeyman Ghost, and it was just like, you know. And when they were freestyling, all they were talking about was like guns. They had like, you know, gun raps. That's all they had. And yeah. And Spirit almost got us killed because, like, you know, he was talking trash, being like the talking trash guy in the background, and we told him to stop, you know.
Yeah.
And it was just like, you know, stop before you really get us killed tonight, you know. But like, I get it. Like, you know, even in the MCs that come in with, like, you know, they had that big ego behind them. Like, all right, well, they're MCing. What is this about? Like, you know. But then when they realize what's going on, and then you check them, then that's when they'll sort of, like, you know, either accept it or not accept it. That's the way it is.
Yeah,
you know?
I like this point that Sub-Z makes. It's what the Tao Te Ching teaches. You have to be empty in order to be worthy of holding the spirit.
There you go.
Be willing to empty out. And yeah, it's something that I hope is returning to hip hop. It's something that I hope is coming back. I can see a shift. Sincerity, one of the MCs from Rhyme Like a Girl, was talking to me about, you know, the MCs and her 20-something crew, and how the art of MCing is mattering again.
Right.
It's mattering, and it's not nostalgia.
Right.
Like, it really is mattering. And I think that that's just a beautiful thing. And I think one of the things that we have to do is to give more energy to the artists and the communities of artists that are doing what you like, and less energy to those that are doing what you don't like.
Right, definitely.
Like, let them be. Like,
definitely.
Take 50% of that energy you spent complaining about XYZ entertainer, and devote that to retweeting, reposting, resharing, and buying the work of these other artists, you know?
Exactly.
And talk about them and celebrate them. And we just live in a culture and a society where we've gotten the habit of talking shit just because.
Right. I mean, there has to be a change, especially with this pandemic.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why you can't be creative at home when you have all that time. You know? If you have all that time complaining, you definitely have all that time creating, you know?
Right, yes.
So, I mean, that's why we all got back. I mean, we got back together. When the pandemic hit, I was in Abu Dhabi, and I was just like, well, we got Zoom. I can hit up my brothers, and we can start this. And, you know, till this day, we got music videos now.
Right.
We did stuff that we haven't done because we were too busy just making songs.
No, Joey, my first intern is in the feed here, right?
Mm-hmm.
From 1997, she's in the thing. And so the stuff we didn't have time, she was supposed to, all these 20 years, supposed to do something with me. And now I'm doing a hip hop theater piece, a work in progress, next month at the Poetic License Festival in New York. And she's directing it with me. Like, we're directing this piece. And it's called Let the Cipher Say Amen, is the name of the piece. And it's just funny because no time before the pandemic.
Right.
But now we got time, yo. We got time.
Now
I shot 3 music videos in the past 6 weeks.
That's awesome.
Yeah, shout out to
That's
maybe
great. We'll definitely look out for that.
Yeah.
What let's talk about hip hop meditation.
Yes.
What started, like, what inspired you to start that? And tell people who don't know what hip hop meditation is.
Well, for me, hip hop meditation is a way to codify, to label my hip hop mindfulness music. It's mindfulness hip hop, and the mindfulness is really about just being more present, being present to what you're doing in your life, being present to what you need to do in your life, and being present to the habits that you need to have a better life, to have more peace of mind, and to have more happiness, and to challenge your dysfunction, right? We all have some dysfunction within us. And so I just took the concepts that I had studied around my own internal spiritual work, my own internal journey, and I put it into musical format. Because why? That's what we do. We make music. And I thought, when I conceived this during Freestyle Union era, that's when I conceived this idea. I was watching PBS, and Wayne Dyer, you remember Wayne Dyer?
Yes.
He was on PBS. And I think some MCs might have been at my house then on New Jersey Avenue. And then I was like, wouldn't this be dope if he had a DJ and he could rhyme, right? It's just like I was starting to see. I said, wouldn't it be dope if Freestyle Union did a 20-minute performance cipher? Then there was a lecture. And then, in that space, I started thinking about this, but it was ahead of its time.
Right.
And so in 2013, I connected with this cat who had a studio. He had time because he had gotten laid off from his job, and he was like, let's work. And so we started working together, hanging out together. And I was a poet. I had become such a spoken word artist. I had lost my flow. And so he had a sort of a lyrical gym, he called it, where it was literally going to the gym. But I was working on my flow. So we do drills for me to get my flow back tight. So I think I trained with him for about 6 months, 2013, to be able to get my flow back into the pocket, right? And then when we started to record, he just said, why don't you just talk over music? And what it was is he had beats that I didn't like because he was a boom bap.
Right.
And I appreciate the boom bap. I'm not a boom bap MC. A lot, I'm into the cipher music. Cipher music, that's my steez. It's a certain tempo, it's a vibe, there's musicality, there's soul, there are all these things. And I think a lot of people talk about hip hop, but they forget that hip hop is not just one thing. Yes. Like hip hop means many things. And there are MCs who they respond to beats that have a musicality to it, beats that provoke emotion before you put the words on them and that sort of stuff. I think the closest I get to boom bap is that I like anthemic tracks, but the rest of it's not for me. And so, but I started to figure out since 2013 what works. And now I feel like I'm on a good track. A couple years ago, Yohimbe, Samson had given me some beats and it stretched me a little bit. And then I had a track meditation. And then I was in Nairobi and met some young musicians, hip hop heads, and they had like some music. And so now hip hop meditation is essentially high vibration hip hop music. Technically, Boogeyman Ghost called me out on a podcast interview and he was like, what are you talking about? This ain't new. You've been doing this shit. Remember at the ciphers? I would come in. I remember I was 14. I came in the cipher and you were burning incense. You had the lights low. You had on these smooth A Tribe Called Quest instrumentals. And you would always talk about vibe. I was like, what the hell she mean vibe? He's like, that's where I learned about vibe. That's where I learned about energy in the Freestyle Union. Yeah. And so it was just like, when you need somebody to tell you who you are. Right. Like he reminded me who I was, and all this time I thought this was a new development in my artistry. He's like the Freestyle Union Cypher workshop. Half of it was just a lyrical meditation. Yes. No, he has a point. So Smart Cats came out of Freestyle Union Cypher workshop in DC, and it's just crazy. Like when we start to think about that. Yep. But
Right,
that's hip hop
right.
meditation. The 3 videos that I shot are all hip hop meditation videos. I reshot a new video for Why Worry to use in this play. And then I have one called I Love and Approve of Myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is called Woke Up This Morning. I just kicked
Nice
my
dress. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad Boogeyman Ghost said that, because it was always in you. You just didn't have the word hip hop meditation.
Yeah.
Maybe the word hip hop meditation was new to you and made you realize what you were doing. You put a title on it. So hey, that's it. That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think I need that for myself. Like everybody that's put down the mic for a while, they need a, hip hop meditation to build them back up.
Else, Joey, I've been preaching this idea that we have to stop treating hip hop as if it's only function, it's only worthwhile if it is your career.
Exactly.
No, hip hop is your culture. Hip hop is a part of who you are. Hip hop is a part of how we come together in community. It is not solely about a career, right?
Yes.
And so you started rhyming not to become like Jay-Z. You started rhyming because you love to rhyme.
Yes.
A person who loves to play golf plays golf.
Right.
A person who loves to knit, knits. A person who loves to garden, gardens. Someone who plays the piano doesn't stop until their fingers can't play. So why in the hell would you stop rapping?
Right, exactly.
Right?
I mean, you could put down the mic for a while, but then, it's always in you.
And you do it, you don't do it to become famous. You don't DJ to become famous. No. You DJ because you love to DJ. And it's one of the challenges of living in a capitalistic society that is rooted, that promotes individualism, is that we neglect the collective gathering, the collective expression of our creativity. And it's one of the reasons why society is so sick.
Right, right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're totally right.
Yeah, not
exercising. Definitely gems. You just dropped a lot of gems.
Thank you. Who said that? Not just exercising, but you playing a sport, yo. Yeah. People play basketball to shoot hoops.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Doing what you love to do. Yeah, that's true. That is true discipline. Look at that. Look at the comments Look at the comments on Fresh Convo.
Yes, I'm glad everybody's into the conversation. Let's talk about health. Health is very important in hip hop. I think, hip hop can use it to change, people's way of, eating and stuff. A lot of people have passed away due to health.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that, and what creative ways could you, put out there as far as health is concerned?
Well, one of my favorite MCs is a gardener and a vegan chef, and his name is Chef Etef. And Chef Etef, Sprout That Life, a play about that life, is a song he has. And one of the things that he is doing as an MC with hip hop, it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Like, he has a seed company where you can buy organic seeds and grow your own kale and stuff at home. And then he has this music. And so, you're right. I go hard with healthy living because I have a sensitive temple. And I have always had a sensitive temple, and I've always been challenged with health issues, and that's the way I've survived. And I think one of the challenges with hip hop is that we live in this larger world of fast food, and instant gratification, which is really not about long life or healthy living. It's not about healthy living. And so the thing with the music is that music is a powerful tool to influence minds, to shape minds,
right.
to promote new concepts and ideas. And I think one of the things that we have to get present to is creating functional music. That was literally like the song I Love and Improve of Myself is a functional song. My song Why
Yes.
Worry is a functional song. Every line is a teaching. And so the challenge is when you're making message music, you have to work 20 times harder to be dope. And that's why there was an era where people thought that message music was corny.
Right.
Because half of the MCs were corny. They were corny. Because the conscious MCs, they were corny. Because they thought their message was that important. Nobody care about your message.
Right.
You're whack. If your beats are whack, nobody cares if you can't perform. No one's gonna hear you. Be dope first. Right. And that's why in the Freestyle Union Cypher workshop, I remember some teachers getting mad at me because they wanted me to block out all cursing. And I was like, yo, even Ethelbert Miller, who was my literary mentor when I was writing poetry seriously, even Ethelbert said, motherfucker is a poetic device.
Yeah. I mean, why put limits? You know what I mean?
You got its language is poetry.
Limits, of course.
Now,
your rules.
But Joey, if you say motherfucker every line 9 times in a row,
right.
now that's whack. You need to go read a dictionary because you obviously don't have any vocabulary. That's different, right? But it's interesting. But I said to answer your question about promoting health, we have to start talking about this openly. We have to allow people to be offended. We have to encourage different behaviors. And how can we talk about it without being preachy or judgmental, but be unapologetic? Because there are people dying who don't have to die.
Exactly.
It's preventable, you know? Yeah.
It's a sensitive topic.
Yeah.
You know, health is. I mean, we've seen it in the Tribe Called Quest documentary. Like, I think, of course, Q-Tip admitted he approached it the wrong way. You just don't like tell or dictate what the person has to do to be healthy. You know, you can suggest and make it a conversation.
Right.
So that Fife wouldn't be like, like sensitive about it.
Yeah.
You know, so
and it's also
I mean, I think about it. I mean, my bad, Joe, I cut you off, but I just think about it. Like all these lately, these MCs that passed away due to health conditions. Sean Price, for example, or Pumpkinhead, for example. It's just like, and I think about it, I'm just like, wow, like, there has to be an awareness for everything, from asthma to kidney disease to everything, just like, that is there. And of course, if we're living in this hip hop culture, we had to eat healthy, Dead Press said eat healthy, people should listen, and it's like, they weren't preachy about it. They made a song about it.
Right. And a good song.
Yeah. And a great song at that, and, and I think it should continue. I think it's important for MCs that are out there to spread that message.
Right.
Should be like how Hip House was acquired back in '89 to everyone that had like a hip house song.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Just like that. Just like, it should be, everyone should say, so like the youth, the next generation could be like, oh wow, like, I gotta eat healthier, or I gotta live healthier. And that's caused because of hip hop, That's great.
Yeah.
So what's next for you?
What is next? Okay, what's next we're preparing a few pitches. One is I have a potential supporter for the hip hop meditation movement. I'm using movement for the work that I'm doing with hip hop meditation, and I have the theater production. Let the Cypher Say Amen. And then my book, Wisdom of the Cipher. It's all Cypher. It's all Cypher, yo. My book, Wisdom of the Cipher, is coming out this year. I have one more piece I need to submit to the publisher, but it's called Wisdom of the Cipher. It will be on Red Talk Presents, and that's the gist. I do the lyrical meditation cipher every Sunday on Clubhouse with my comrade Polaris, dope MC, every Sunday at noon. And then the Global Women's Cipher, we have a couple of dates. I think it's in June. The next one is in June. And we're working with Poetic Theater Productions. I want to shout out Vanessa Brantley Newton. She's an award-winning children's book author, illustrator. She belts out songs like Jill Scott. She is really, really dope. I want to shout her out. She's here. Yeah. So yeah, that's what's next. The book, Wisdom of the Cipher. The every Sunday gatherings on Clubhouse. My piece, Let the Cipher Say Amen. Joey, I didn't realize that my whole life was cipher until I just said that out loud.
Nah, that's amazing, and I love how you continued the energy of the cipher. That's important.
Yeah.
You're the queen of the cipher, like that. But that's dope. Whoever's in Clubhouse, check Toni out. Definitely.
Let me know if you need an invitation.
Yes, definitely. If you guys need an invitation, let me know too. I got like 8 of them. But I do tend to listen to some conversation that goes on in there. It's very interesting. Very interesting, I must say. A very interesting platform. And also you're on you have music. Yes. That's out on that's out on all platforms, right?
Oh, yes. So Sincerity, lyrics, Sincerity Garcia helped me start getting set up. So it was a therapeutic, cathartic exercise to just let the music go. I have so much music in my thing here that the world has never heard. And so we put out this Rhyme Like a Girl tune called Let's Chill. And it features Polaris, Sincerity, Farida B, and Felice G. And it's hip hop meditation. So it's sort of like, I was like, you know what? There has not been a hip hop meditation posse track. So that's what we did with Let's Chill. So so there's gonna be more coming soon, and getting music mixed and mastered, and shooting a couple more videos in the next couple of months.
That's awesome. So it's on Spotify and all that. All the other platforms you can hear music on, and of course purchase if if you're on Bandcamp or definitely support Toni's movement. She's been doing this, and I'm proud. Once again, I'm giving you your flowers right now.
Oh, because, thank you.
It's just like, and we thank you. We thank you very much for for inspiring us to be who we are today. And I know, I mean, in DC, there has to be something there has to be documentaries coming out soon, because this has to our conversation now has to be global. People have to know what happened on U Street. You know what I mean? And DC in general. Because, I mean, people don't know. People always think okay, DC had go-go, right? Of course it had go-go. But there was hip-hop, and there still is hip-hop in DC. And, and we were blessed to have U Street. You know what I mean? It's just great. And you're the mother, you're the mother of all the children that was in the cipher. And, and I want to thank you. And we all thank you from, from the bottom of our hearts, for real. Just it means a lot to us. And I mean, I always think about Freestyle Union, just how you were inviting, it was just being, oh wow, she wanted me to perform with them. So, Toni, Aaron Henry's rhyming right now. You can do that. I was like, okay, I get it. I get it.
Yes.
And it just expanded, like, you know, even after Freestyle Union,
yes.
it made us more hungry. Like, you know, we I must say, I'll admit, in this interview, we did go. Remember, Cyrus looked after your house for like a few days.
Yes.
He invited us all down, and we made classics at the at your house. So that energy at your house made us do a song called "Empty Your Cup,"
right.
And that's gonna be out soon. It was with Baking Soda. It was amazing. The lineup was like Cyrus, Shamir, Baking Soda, Philly, me, and Zach. So it was just crazy, and we belted out like at least like 8 songs that day.
Yeah.
Now who does that? Belt out 8 songs. Cyrus just is like, yo, I just brought all my equipment here, you know.
Yeah.
And we belted out like, you know, just like songs. So I want to thank you for that inspiration, even though you did not know about it.
No, but I think it's a beautiful thing, and now is the time. Now is the time to get it out, you know, to get it out of your body, get it out of your system. Now is the time. I want to shout out your mom.
Yeah.
Edwards. She is something else.
I know.
Who adopted me. Who, you know, Freestyle Union, it has so many extensions of family, and Joey's mom, y'all, adopted me when we moved to New York, and played an important part of my life in me transitioning well into New York. So yeah, we'll shout her out.
Yeah, definitely. My mom talks about you all the time. She's excited every time you come over, and I'm excited. I'm like, word, Tony's coming through. Like that's amazing.
Black Indians in the building. What's up, VI? Love you, VI.
Oh my gosh, Black Indian, yes. We're definitely gonna have a season 3, and I definitely want Black Indian.
Okay.
And you know that it's gonna continue. There's so many artists that from the generation, the Freestyle Union generation in DC, that I'm gonna
well, these
interview.
Joey, I just want to say that I'm proud of you, and this is a great archival exercise. This is a great archival project.
No, I mean, reminiscing about it is just great, and I knew our conversation would be just like this, like you know, because I mean, there's so much to share. Like, who do we talk about it? Like, you know, who hasn't experienced it, you know?
Yeah.
So I can say personally that I've experienced it.
Yeah.
And we were both there, and it's just like, you know, it's amazing just how we talk about it, and how you know, how we definitely experienced that moment and that time. It's very important that we spread the word, and of course people have to know that, you know, DC ain't a place to play with. There's so many dope artists, DMV, like, you know, so many artists that came through. So so where can people find you on social media?
You can find me here on Instagram at Toni Blackman, and on Twitter, my name, TikTok, which I haven't visited in a month or so. But my TikTok I was doing good for a minute, but it's a lot to keep up with. On Facebook, my website, ToniBlackmanPresents.com, and then I have YouTube. Oh, I forgot to mention my YouTube show. I have a YouTube show called How to Freestyle, which I was doing. I had a good rhythm, and then Women's Month came along, and but I'm gonna learn how to bulk record so that I have enough programming to keep it going, even if I get busy. And but I'm really excited about the How to Freestyle series, because I've been teaching it for so long, and being able to, you know, condense it into these bite-sized chunks. I have a lot of followers who are music teachers, and so that's really rolling. And I'll be live on IG a few times this month for National Poetry Month. just talking to some poets who I promised I would interview in December, and I didn't get.
Oh no, that's great. So you got a lot on your plate.
So, well, it's moving. You know, the IG Live is just a conversation. The book is done. It just needs, it's being edited, and the music is done that I'm shooting videos for. So the bulk of the work and my energy is going towards Let the Cypher Say Amen, the theater piece. And it's just about aligning with the right business-minded folks who can support me in it. And, you know, taking a deep dive into allowing the evolution of myself, of my art. And I feel like this year is just such an incredible year. So many things have been coming to me without me having to do anything. That's how I know it's the divine right time. Like, I've met some really brilliant video directors and videographers, musicians. DJ Paul Howard did a house meditation track for me that he produced. And so it's just, now it's really about getting into the flow. I was introduced to a potential manager. So I'm in this space of this month is when I allow God to guide me to what I'm supposed to be doing at this point in my life. And I'm productive in it. And I feel very fortunate to be able to have so many good things happening in the midst of this chaos and the pain.
Right. Nah, that's awesome. That's very awesome. I'm glad. I'm glad that you're still doing it. The cipher never dies. So, like, you know, you're definitely keeping that. And yes, everybody check out Toni's YouTube. Check out the Clubhouse. You know, she's on all platforms. So there's
all platforms, yo.
There's no reason why you have to, like, you know, miss anything. Yes. So like, definitely everywhere. And definitely we're looking forward for the book. You know, can you just say when you expect that to come out?
The book, it looks like it'll probably be fall. I have to check in with them in April's here. In April, about the book. The book will probably come out this fall. It's called The Wisdom of the Cypher, and it will be released on Red Talk. Red Talk Presents. Yes.
Wow. Can't wait.
So the book is a collection of spiritual insights that I've gleaned from years of working with the cipher. So it's basically all of our principles and philosophies, you know, all that kind of stuff. So
it's like the blueprint, basically.
Yeah. It's like don't sweat the small stuff, but hip hop. Right. Yeah.
Nah, I can't wait. I want a signed copy when it's you know.
When
it comes out.
Thank you for having me on Fresh Convos.
No, thank you for you know, we're very happy to have you on Fresh Convos. Once again, this is Fresh Convos Season 2, everybody. Sorry, it's on Toni Blackman's page, but, like, you know, we make it work out.
Yes.
Toni, if you can do me a favor, can you save this joint?
Oh, yes, I'll save it.
Yeah, save it, and then I'll talk to you after. So, yes, everybody, this has been Fresh Convo Season 2. Next week, we got RBI. So that's going to be fun. Toni, it's been a very much pleasure. Everybody check out www.amphibians.com. It's AMPHBNS.com. We got merch like Fresh Convos t-shirts and the infamous logo and stuff, and new music coming out soon. And also, like I said, check this wonderful queen that I have here. All her stuff is just, like, amazing. And you know, we look forward for the book. And you know, whoever's not in Clubhouse, hit me or Toni up. We'll invite you and experience the conversations that she has about the ciphers and stuff. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Joey.
For doing this on your time off. I didn't realize that you were away. But you know, thanks to the universe that made this happen.
Yes. Peace, y'all.
Peace, y'all. All right.